What's up, people? My name's Francis.
I'm Ario.
I'm Fanon.
And today we're going to talk about cutting meat out from our diets. It's been a long-term goal for me to do without meat for health reasons. These two have a lot of experience, so we're just here to talk about it.
See, man, kick it off.
So, Fanon, how long have you been cutting meat out from your diet?
So basically, I've been actually vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian for over the last 25 years, to be honest. I initially became vegetarian when I was about 19 years old in college, but I was what you call a junk food vegetarian. But that was my, college days. And then as I moved into my 20s, I was still vegetarian. I went into veganism for a little short period of time. And then I started incorporating fish, and then back to chicken, and then into my 30s I started back to basically eating everything. Recently, over the last 9 months or so, I went back to veganism. Essentially, I think that the best way to go about it is to subtract by addition, by adding more nutrient-dense food into your diet, eating more plants. You begin to see how you feel on that. And then it's through that process that you begin to, recognize that you can actually, reduce, flesh out of your diet, and that's what I've done. And then I've also become a very avid juicer and smoothie drinker, and that's also been a way to get a lot of nutrient-dense foods into my system. And and then you start to realize that you can, do without.
Cool. And how about you? Like, how long have you been cutting meat out from your diet?
So it's been like since last summer, so about over a year. And it wasn't like, I'm gonna become a vegetarian or a vegan. I thought, let me try and not eat meat for like a week, because I ate meat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I know I didn't feel so good. So I thought, let me try cut it out for a week and see what I can do. And a week turned into 2 weeks, and then it's now a year and a half. So yeah.
Cool. And like, why? Why did you decide to cut meat out from your diet?
I chose to cut meat out of my diet for health reasons. There's a lot of, obviously a lot of great, new research out here on the sort of, the kind of challenges that meat offer in terms of cardiovascular disease and so forth. With social media, there's a whole kind of veganism and sort of sustainability movement that's, sort of at the fore. And so this is new information, new insight, and then as I've gotten older and still want to stay in good physical condition, I thought it was essential to always be trying to tweak the diet and see what works. And that's really what it's been about for me. And like Ario, I didn't go into this saying, I'm going to be a vegan now. I literally went into saying, you know what, I'm going to do a juice cleanse. And let me go ahead and reboot with a juice cleanse. I'm going to do that for 3 days. And then that led to 7 days. And I said, okay, I'm going to do 21 days. And I said, oh no, let me just go ahead and do a 30-day juice cleanse. And after that, when I did a 30-day juice cleanse and then came off the juice cleanse and just started eating just plants, that was what really showed me how powerful, it can be. It wasn't just meat for me, it's also dairy. Because dairy was just really, really, it wasn't that I couldn't digest it, but it definitely created a lot of mucus in my body.
When you say mucus, like, give me an example. Are you talking about phlegm?
Phlegm, pretty much. Not being able to breathe,
oh, really?
Wow.
Like
as well as I should be able to breathe, hacking up stuff, and dairy is like immediate, and I love ice cream.
Oh, you said juice cleanse before, right?
Yeah.
What's a juice cleanse?
I mean, obviously, if you get a juicer, he squeezes out all these essential juices from a plant or a fruit, and I essentially basically consume juice for literally exclusively for a period of time. What you get from the pure juice is that it actually goes directly into your bloodstream. Like, you're basically getting all the chlorophyll, all the minerals, trace minerals and things that come from the earth that you can only get from the earth in plants and in fruit. You're getting that right into the blood.
And how about you? Why did you decide to cut meat out from your diet?
Well, I said it was like the kick was I saw a documentary where I can't remember the name, and I always say that, but I saw the documentary and I thought, you know what, let me try, because it was talking about
forks over knives.
It wasn't forks over knives. It was something. It was something like that. Probably
okay,
like that. So one knows. But yeah, it was like heart disease and cancer and all these things, and I was thinking, man, if I'm putting this in my body all the time, like, and obviously I said I've got a family now, and I'm like, I want to live, you know, healthily. So I was like, I need to stop that. Like literally, I think that day was like, I stopped eating meat like that day. But I was thinking about it before, and my wife was watching it with me, so that helped. So she's kind of stopped too. But we actually went all the way. We went vegan for a bit, but then had to put it back because I wasn't ready to give up some of those sweet treats. It's like I was looking for vegan ice cream for a while, and it's like I couldn't find it here, and I was like, let me just have ice cream once in a while. But I don't go for it often. Like we don't have butter in the house, and we don't have cow's milk. So it's not like I'm having it. It's with these snacks sometimes that I let it through. It's been great, as you said. You lose weight and stuff, but I want to really try your.
Well, it's not. And the thing about it, I think it's not about perfectionism. I mean, I think sometimes we get a little preoccupied with just being perfect in everything. And yes, I think you should strive to have the most optimal diet possible. But it's a process. You know, instead of cutting out all the things that they hate, they should start adding in things they don't have in their diet. So if you're a regular meat eater, you know, you should start. Doing things like, for example, they talked to like Michael Pollan, who's like one of the sort of food gurus in the United States, who's star of Food Inc. He writes for the New York Times, Omnivore Dilemma, all this kind of stuff, and he eats meat. But what he says, that one of the things I like about what he says, listen, I treat meat like a delicacy and not a staple. And as you know, in Japan, fish and meat are often for flavoring. It's not to be like this big thing to sit down and it should be dominant on your plate. It's all what works for you. There's no one way.
Yeah, also let's say I'm not like a vegetarian or a pescatarian like per se. Like I don't eat meat, but it's not like a religious reason. People always look at me and think, oh, is it religious? Right. It's like just I choose not to, basically. And if I decided to have meat once, it's not like I'm breaking any rules. I haven't set any rules for myself. Right. Just like that.
I think for me, one of the main reasons why I decided to think about cutting meat out is I read this book called The China Study. And basically it talks about the link between the consumption of meat and cancer. So that really made me think about it a lot. And for me, I say it's not that meat per se is dangerous or unhealthy. I think it's the way that animals are farmed today. It's what they're being fed that might possibly be causing like an increase in cancer rate. So that's basically the main reason why I've decided to cut meat out from my diet in the long term.
And there's a lot of debates. I mean, it's easy to get caught up on YouTube and so forth on all the different debates. You have a lot of vegans who are kind of like, very dogmatic, a lot of just hardcore vegans. And, so what people would consider like extremism on all ends. Be attentive to your body and how you feel and be honest with yourself. And it's a process. It's like, hey man, sometimes you just might like chicken wings, you know what I'm saying? And that's just can't give them up. And that's real.
So what are the major health effects or what are the major effects of cutting meat out from your diet?
One is it's made me much more creative in the kitchen. Because you have to sort of figure out, like alternatives when you've been used to sort of always having a meat protein there, but you also you want to have some other, maybe nutrient-dense protein sources, whether it's tofu, whether it's beans, whether it's, you want to be creative.
Now that's a good point you made about, having to find variety. So I think 6 months ago, so I drastically reduced my meat consumption, so I was only eating meat once a week.
Right.
And the problem I found with that is that it's just I was always eating the same thing all the time. So I was just like, nah, this is not for me. So I just stopped. But I mean, I felt like mentally clear, mental clarity. I felt lighter, and my digestion was much better. So
How about you? Feel much better. I mean, with terms of creativity in the kitchen, I don't have to worry about that, so I'm kind of lucky. But sometimes we did find some alternative for things I liked. I liked shepherd's pie and beef for London's, but I had to make like a vegetable version. It was really nice, and we made some vegan things as well, like some vegan apple crumble. It was crazy, but it was still nice. So switched it up in terms of that. In terms of weight, before I didn't even exercise much, but once I stopped eating meat, weight started coming off nicely. I also said I also do intermittent fasting as well, so that helped. And then my digestion was so much better. If I had something with like meat dashi, I could feel it in my body. So I could feel like that meat stock, and I just knew that it wasn't good for me. So I felt better physically and mentally. I'm a creative person. I get time to think. I had more energy. I wake up earlier in the morning. Maybe these are direct benefits or so, I'm not sure, but it's
meat
been all
takes a
positive.
much longer time to digest. So when you eat it, people generally have that itis. Oftentimes, you eat a whole lot and you just want to sit back, because it takes a longer time to digest.
What were your sources of protein? Because we all work out here, and protein is really important in terms of working out. So can you just list your five sources of protein?
Don't ask me that question.
Well, let me say this. I think that there's a couple things about the protein debate and discussion. One is that the meat and dairy industry has played a huge role in basically, pushing this idea we need so much amount of protein. Even in the States, the European standards is about half of what they say you need in the States. This idea that we need so much protein is just like it's kind of a myth. It's driven a lot by the meat and dairy industry. Now, yes, you do need protein. Obviously, I get it from legumes. I get it from lots of leafy green vegetables. Like I eat like spirulina, which is like a plankton that comes from a green source that comes out of the ocean. That's packed with protein. Broccoli and leafy greens, as I said, different varieties of beans, tofu.
What I say is, my wife, she does a lot of research. I do a little bit of research, but I'm more like, let me try it. If it works, then I'll keep going. My dad would be, I said I don't eat meat anymore. He's
Right.
like, what? You need meat. I'm like, I'm still like, this is a year in, I'm still healthy, I'm still going to gym, I'm looking good. Look at me. My mum's complimenting me on my skin, which she usually doesn't do. It's a kind of thing. And they're like, your son, he needs it to grow, because he doesn't. It's not like we force him not to eat meat, but we don't make it at home. And if he goes out and at school, they have it. But he doesn't eat so much now either. But he's like the biggest child in his class. Height is.
Yeah, but that could be due to.
But that could be due to genetics too. But if he was, malnutrition or something, you would see that he wasn't growing properly, because these kids, they need the right, the right foods and the right energy. But he's one of the youngest, but he's one of the biggest, and he's healthy and.
But look at his dad, man. Dad's
yeah, but I'm saying, if I was suffering, you would see. You'd be like.
Have you guys had any difficulties?
In terms of not eating meat, no difficulties like whatsoever. I might smell something that smells nice, but I know that's like a lot of times it's the seasoning or whatnot. But I'm never like, I need to have some Burger King, or I need to have some KFC, I need some meat and all that stuff.
How about like living in Japan? When you go out to restaurants, have they been like vegetarian friendly? Would you say?
There's a lot more vegan and vegetarian places in Kyoto. Like there might be. I've discovered. There's this app called Happy Cow, and they basically talk about, they basically are a resource for vegan and vegetarian restaurants all over the world. And so there's a lot of Happy Cow, like, TripAdvisor, TripAdvisor. So Happy Cow has become that for vegan and vegetarian restaurants.
They've got stuff in Kyoto too.
They have a lot, there's like 6 or 7, restaurants in Kyoto now. There's a whole thing of them in Osaka. If you go on Yelp and just put in vegan, vegetarian, there's a range. They're a little bit more expensive, obviously. We talked about this before, but like, a lot of them also do a lot of soy meat based stuff. Some people have issues with soy. I can do soy, but soy is also I have a kind of a soy allergy too, and I can't do a lot of it all the time. Like I'm an almond milk drinker as opposed to a soy milk drinker. But then there's benefits to soy. Like I could do tofu, and it's also tofu is, can be produced differently. So certain tofu might give me a reaction where a lot of tofu doesn't. So you got to figure out that for yourself and what works. You know, a lot of like the sort of like fake meat stuff that was produced earlier was gluten based. You know, of course, people have these gluten allergies, and so you got to be attentive to that. You know, but yeah, there's alternatives. It's growing. You know, Japan is becoming more conscious in that direction.
Yeah, that's true.
But part of it is slow because Japan is, you know, the Japanese generally have a pretty healthy diet.
Yeah.
But you know, of course, we know the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and obesity, all that stuff is on the rise here in ways that it doesn't look like the West, but it's definitely not. You know, it's around, it's present.
Yeah, you're talking about eating out actually, because if you can choose where you're going, then it's like I can go to this vegan restaurant. But for work, I work for a Japanese company sometimes, and they have like, we're gonna go for dinner or something, and but Ario doesn't eat meat,
Right?
So we can't go to the yakiniku place or this place. So it's limited there, or I have one choice of one salad.
Right.
So if they don't really if it's either vegan, vegetarian restaurant, or it's like we don't care about you.
Right,
kind of
exactly.
thing. So in those cases, you know, I just tend to end up not going sometimes, or they're like, I'm not going. They're like, okay, yeah, we can go to the meat place.
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, I have fish, so we went to like a mackerel bar, so that was cool. But we do have, when you have other people involved, then it can become a problem.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And what advice would you like to give to people who are thinking of, you know, becoming a vegetarian or cutting meat out from their diets, or just having a healthier diet? Any advice you can give?
Like I said, first of all, addition by subtraction. You know, don't immediately go extreme and cut everything out of your diet. Start to include things that are nutrient dense. Put a lot more plants. Drink a lot more water. You know, just be more attentive to your diet and your taste buds, and then begin to reduce things over time, and then educate yourself and just really take advantage of all of the resources out here, and just keep an open mind. You know,
I think there's so many resources for you, and you know, sometimes they can be conflicting. So I think the best thing to do is just try things out for yourself and see what works for you.
Yeah, definitely. I would say if you want to cut things out or something, try to do it gradually. I remember I did drop everything once, and I went back straight away after like a month. But like now, maybe if you have, for example, tea, if you have 2 spoons of sugar, 1.5, 1, and then eventually you just break it down to, you don't have any sugar with your tea, you don't have any sugar with my tea now, and that kind of thing. Maybe try something for a day, or try it for a weekend and see how you feel. Then if you feel better, then you're going to continue. If it feels good, you're going to continue. But if you push yourself too hard, you're going to bounce right back the other way. So yeah, just try things out and then see how it goes. Like you said, also look for creative, different ways to get, how to get your fix, basically. Different alternatives. Don't stick to the same thing. There are fruits and vegetables you don't know. I never had an avocado before I came to Japan.
Wow.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I saw them, but I was like, nah, but I love avocados.
Right.
Yeah. So that's like a big.
You've never had an avocado
before I came to Japan. I don't believe that I had an avocado.
As a Californian, man, that's just like part of that's like part of your bloodstream. I grew up with an avocado tree. The avocados used to fall so much that they would spoil.
Oh wow!
And that was back in the when I was a kid, But yeah, man, avocados are a great source of fat.
Any closing remarks?
Eat more plants.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for coming down. Ow! Thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. As you can see, there are many alternatives to meat that you can put into your diet, and there are easy ways to move to a more plant-based diet. So one thing is to make sure you try and see what works for you and adjust there. Don't have to follow someone else, okay? See what works for you. Alright, if you like this video, click like, click subscribe. We'll have more content like this coming in the future. Peace.